put them back on the rack. You didn't like that.
Then a style showdown.
You went to get your clothes.
Correct. And we started fighting.
Someone was arrested. That would be you.
This is Judge Judy.
Victoria Paul is suing her former friend, C.C. Rocker, for the return of clothes she was selling on consignment, a false arrest, and harassment.
Order. All rise. It's case number 462 on the calendar, the matter of Paul versus Rocker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Paul, this is short version of what I see in the complaint and the answer. You gave on consignment some designer clothes to the defendant who had a shop.
Correct.
And you were in close proximity to her shop.
Well, I was upstairs. She was downstairs.
Give me the month and year that you gave her the clothes.
July 2019.
And then you say that you saw either the defendant or some other people wearing the clothes that you had given her on consignment.
Correct.
And then having them cleaned and putting them back on for sale.
Correct.
So you went downstairs on what date?
I didn't go downstairs. I sent her an email after I requested the payout information.
You never got paid for the clothes?
No.
But at some point you did go downstairs to retrieve your clothes.
Correct.
On what date was it that you went downstairs to retrieve your clothes?
Probably a week after our agreement.
So you went downstairs, and tell me what happened when you went downstairs.
Well, it was prelude to our email. I went downstairs in response to the email of her telling me to come and get my things because she was upset that I had basically outed her on saying I've seen items that I was not paid for on other people on social media, including yourself. And these items were not in the payout agreement, but they're here being worn or sold by others. And my things are so limited, I know what belonged to my store.
Got it. So you told her you wanted them back.
Correct, or payout for it.
Well, she wasn't giving you the payout, so you went downstairs to get your clothes.
Correct.
And that was also in July. So you go downstairs, you grab your clothes, and you took them upstairs.
But not everything.
Most of the stuff.
Correct.
She got mad and came to where you were.
Correct.
To get her hangers. Because when you took the clothes, you took them on the hangers. So she wanted her hangers back. And that's when the first fight, someone was arrested.
Correct.
That would be you.
Yes.
And you were arrested for assault?
Simple battery.
What happened with that case?
It was dismissed or dropped. It was never moved forward with the DA's office.
So there were no charges ever filed?
Correct.
You never appeared before a judge?
Correct.
Or did you appear before a judge?
No.
Was there a protective order issued?
No.
So what you are seeking now is for the value of the clothes, some of which have already been worn.
Correct.
For a false arrest.
Correct.
And I don't know what the harassment is. She has a counterclaim for the money owed for an assault and defamation. Okay, let's deal with that first. You're upstairs getting your hangers back.
Correct, as well as the garment that she wanted me to pay for, the duster that I was wearing. I went to retrieve both the hangers and the duster.
The what?
It's called a duster. It's like a cardigan.
I
went to retrieve the cardigan and hangers from her store upstairs.
Why that cardigan?
Because she requested that when I send her payout information to include it, when she came to pick up the clothing, she actually took it with her. So I said, okay, return that with the hangers, and we'll get this all squared away.
Miss Rocker, did you ever pay her for any of the things, any money?
No, ma'am.
Okay, she's going to show me pictures of either you or you and other people wearing the clothing that she gave you on consignment to sell.
Well,
just a second. Now, did you allow other people to wear clothing that she had given you on consignment to sell? That's either a yes or a no.
That's correct.
So that's a yes. Now, when she gave you the clothing to sell on consignment, it was new, correct?
Not the thing that the designer wore was not new.
Just a second. Are you saying that all but one item was new?
One of the items, correct.
All but one of the items was new.
A few of them had stains, so I can't tell if they were new or not. But of the items that we're speaking upon, one was not new, but the others were.
Were new.
Correct.
Once you wore them,
Correct.
or somebody else wore them,
correct,
you understand that they're no longer new.
I do understand that.
So that they lose value.
Exactly. That's why you would put them on sale.
Just a second. That they lose value.
Correct.
Now, did you have written authorization that she had given you to sell, make them used items, and then try to sell them? Did you have that in writing from her?
In our contract, it stated that
just a second. Don't talk. Show me the contract. Then the answer is yes. Show me the contract. I want you to circle in the contract where it says that the items can be worn, and therefore circle in the contract where it says that the items can be worn and then returned to inventory and therefore must be sold as old or used. Just circle in the contract. Doesn't say that at all.
Well, it states that
it doesn't say that at all.
Her property to make that decision.
No. It doesn't say that you can wear it. Doesn't say, I don't know what you underline. All inventory provided to the store will now be considered the property of Created Risk Boutique. For it means that you can wear it and sell it as used.
Well, no, that wasn't what I was stating at all.
Just listen. Hey, listen. My question to you is, do you have a contract that permits you to take new merchandise, make it used merchandise by wearing it, or allow others to wear it for whatever purpose, whether you say it's for advertising, whatever it is? Do you have a contract that says that? You just underlined this. This is not what it says at all.
Well, I'm not necessarily negating that part of the claim.
Fine, very good. Then she owes you for the value of the clothing. What's the value of the clothing?
$32.56.
Let me see the items, please.
Some of the inventory list, and then here's the part.
Would she be able to return that item as well?
This is the inventory.
Some of it. It didn't all fit in her inventory control thing, and when she came into my store, I manually wrote it by hand.
Okay. Now what I'd like you to show me or tell me is about the assault that you were arrested on.
Okay, so the day that she came in...
You go upstairs to get your hangers. And?
Well, Victoria sent me an email stating for me to come upstairs and grab the hangers. And as soon as I walk in, I was on the phone with my mother. She tells me to get off the phone with my mother so that we can have a conversation. I told her, I'm just here to get the items. I need to get back to my store. I left it unlocked. At that time, Victoria begins to get irate and tell me she's not going to give me back any hangers or anything at all. So once she gets irate, I immediately turn around and say, you know what, I'm getting out of here. My mom's in the phone. She's like, get out of there right away.
Don't tell me what your mother said.
But right away, I go to get out of the store. Victoria had huge sliding glass doors on her store. She tries to close them to keep me in the store. When she couldn't get them closed, she stands in front of me and starts pushing me back in the store, telling me that I'm not going anywhere, that this is her store. She's not giving me anything. I'm messing with the wrong girl now. And then from that point forward, we started fighting.
Okay, so she pushed you.
She pushes me. She's standing in front of me
just a second. She pushed you. And what was the next thing that happened?
She grabbed my hair.
She pushed you.
Well, we kind of were pushing each other because she was standing in front of me, you know.
She pushed you. You pushed her. Next thing that happened.
She grabbed my hair and started yanking it. And we started fighting.
Okay. When you were fighting, describe what's fighting.
We were literally fighting all over her store, like from this side of the ground, tussling, pretty much all over the store. People were walking by, but no one ever stopped.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see a report of any injuries that you had.
I have the police report.
I'd like to see a report.
Well, it tells the injuries that they visibly saw as well as their medical.
And then I would like to see the medical reports that you have.
I actually didn't get the opportunity to go to the...
Not actually. Did you go to a hospital?
I did not.
Did you go to seek medical attention?
I seek the medical attention right then on the scene.
All right. So the answer is no.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't go to the doctor.
All right, then just say no.
Oh, sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Let me explain to you. If you went to buy a car, you would be making car payments, right?
Yes, Your
That
Honor.
would be correct. So let's just get some dates so you feel less terrible when you leave here.
Victoria Paul says former friend CC Rocker owes for the return of clothes, a false arrest, and harassment. CC is countersuing for assault, harassment, and defamation.
Okay. Who's Watson?
I'm Watson. That is my legal name. I'm going by my professional name today.
But your name is Watson. How am I supposed to tell the difference?
Well, I'm letting you know
Just a
now
second.
that... Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're Watson.
Of course.
Okay, so the police officer noticed carpet burns on both of your knees, and she said that you had scratches to your face and arms. That's why she was arrested. Now, there's no question in my mind that she was annoying, and you prevented her from leaving because you wanted to talk to her about the clothes and what she owed you because they were worn. There's no question about that. There's no question in my mind that both of you acted badly on that day because your recourse is to come to court and sue her for the clothes, which
Correct.
you're absolutely entitled to, not to have an altercation with her. And Miss Rocker Watson, or whatever your name is, if she wants to talk to you and you go up there with your headphones on talking to your mother and say, I'm not talking to you about the clothes that I actually stole from you.
We actually had just had a
that I
conversation.
actually stole.
We had a conversation previous before I ever went up to her store in my store earlier.
Absolutely did not.
Just a second. And what was the conversation?
The conversation was about the clothing. These are actually the payout reports for the clothing that we had. We were speaking about her not trusting. And I was telling things like that. And as we continued the conversation, she says, you stole my idea. So that's when I said, you know what, let's go ahead and dissolve our agreement. But the conversation was about the report and how I went about it. And I explained to her about advertising and
Yeah, I
etc.
understand,
So,
but you explained about to her. What I'm telling you is you took her new clothes, you made them old clothes, and you had no right to do that.
I understand.
Well, evidently not. Because what I'm telling you is there are certain things that make sense and certain things that don't make sense.
Correct.
You went upstairs to get your hangers, and you told the police that she told you to come upstairs to get your hangers.
Correct.
Right? But she also wanted to talk to you.
She didn't say that in the email.
But when you got up there...
She was very
aggressive. She didn't give a rat's behind about your hangers. You cared about your hangers.
Well, I also wanted the cardigan back so that I could pay her for it.
Yeah, she didn't care about your hangers.
She wanted to talk
about $3,000 worth of merchandise.
No, she did not. Her inventory is there. It's about $1,000 in total if she would have sold every single thing.
I wouldn't trust you.
She went through it before.
I wouldn't trust you to sell stuff on consignment if what you did with her clothes was wear them, not only you, but other people. Wear them, you had them cleaned, and you put them back on the rack.
I asked her to leave.
Fine. Now you have one opportunity to tell me about defamation.
The defamation. With the defamation, once
don't speak.
You don't want me to tell you?
Don't speak. Yeah, well, she put this on. She said you wore the items and you re-tagged them. That's true. And then, I don't know what this is.
That is actually from the witness statement.
I don't know what this is.
That's a message that she actually posted in December saying that I'm a con artist and a scammer and things like that. She posted that
Just a second, I gave you thousands of dollars of inventory to sell. Bare store with no money up front. You'd rather wear the clothes and dry clean and put them back on for sale. Shame on you. That's not defamation. It's all true.
That I'm a scammer and a con artist?
Judgment,
yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,256. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The only reason it turned into this is because Victoria attacked me.
We won the case, and that's all I really wanted was justice for my store.
Some people, they just can't help when you do better than them.
Do not judge a book by its cover. She looked slim and sweet, but she was the snake and sour.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walsh versus Mackey. Step forward.
Kirsten Walsh is for the return of money for a car.
So, Miss Walsh, this is relatively simple. You and the defendant lived together. You were a couple. He wanted to buy a new car, but he had another car. You needed a car. And according to you, you made arrangements with him that you would take over the payments on his old car. And once you finished paying off the loan on the car, he would transfer the title to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you drove the car. You're going to tell me for how long. And then the two of you broke up, and you took the car. He said, I want my car back because car's in my name. If you have an accident, I'm responsible. If you get a ticket, I'm responsible. If you hit somebody, I'm responsible. And now we're not a couple anymore, right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you said, no, I've been making payments on this car, and I want you to give me back all the money that I paid for the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My question to you is, do you want to give him $10,000? If that's what's left on the loan, you pay him $10,000, he'll give you the car. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Absolutely. Your choice.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kirsten Walsh is suing her former roommate, Christopher Mackey, for the return of...
If you went to buy a car, you would be making car payments, right?
Yes, Your
That
Honor.
would be correct. And you'd have to put down a down payment. That would also be correct. Correct?
Typically, yes, Your Honor.
He didn't ask you for a down payment, did he?
No, Your Honor.
No. Okay. So let's just get some dates so you feel less terrible when you leave here. From when to when did you live together?
We moved in together, Your Honor, in October of 2019.
And when did you leave?
I moved out on December 31st.
And when did you make this arrangement with the car?
It was in September of 2019.
How many car payments did you make?
I made 5 car payments, Your Honor.
And how much was each of the car payments?
$400.
Before you took over the car payments from him, did you own a vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of car?
2014 Jeep Cherokee.
What did you do with it?
I was driving it when it was working. When it was non-operational, I was driving the Hyundai.
Well, where is it now?
It's operational at this time, Your Honor, and I've been driving it.
So what you're telling me is you kept 2 cars.
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you do, get it fixed?
Yes, Your Honor. I've been paying for the repairs on my Jeep.
Okay, well, that's a good idea. Now, the Jeep you bought for cash?
I've been making payments on it monthly. I have it financed through a Chrysler Finance.
Good. And how much are your car payments on the Jeep?
$650 a month.
So $400 a month, you understand, $400. So why would you think if you drove his car for 5 months that you're entitled to all the money back?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, what's left on the car?
I still owe about $10,000, Your Honor, with
Do you
interest.
want to give him $10,000? My question to you is, do you want to give him $10,000? If that's what's left on the loan, you pay him $10,000, he'll give you the car. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Absolutely. It's up to you. Your choice. He doesn't want you to pay off the car, and I absolutely believe he's 100% right. He doesn't want any responsibility. You're not a couple anymore. If you have an accident, if you drop the insurance, whatever it is, he doesn't want to just be a lien holder on this car. He wants it out of his name. Do you want to give him, in order to fulfill the contract, $10,000 now?
At this point, no, Your Honor.
Then your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Their dog reached the fence than words.
What the defendants have here is compelling evidence to me.
Next Judge Judy.
Now I don't have the money that I put in to purchase the car, nor do I have a car.
I feel that the judgment was fair.
Our relationship fell apart after I caught him in lies.
It's handled, and I can move on.
Don't trust men.
Be careful who you trust, and don't let anyone take advantage of it.
Their so-called friend talked a good game.
She wanted to buy a bar and she wanted to go in business with us.
Then this scam went into overdrive.
She had stated that she had bought her ex-boyfriend a Tesla. She asked us if we wanted the vehicle for $500.
A new Tesla.
We were fools for believing her.
No, you were more than fools.
This is Judge Judy.
Jasmine and Jose Acosta are suing their former friend, Ramona Segura, for a loan, Disneyland tickets, a garage fee, and fraud.
Order. All rise. It's case number 448 on the calendar in the matter of Acosta versus Segura.
Thank you. Mrs. Acosta, the defendant was a friend of yours. How did you meet her?
We met her at the bar my husband works at. She's a regular there. We have mutual friends.
And it is your claim that the defendant scammed you 3 times.
Correct.
Tell me when the first time was and how you think that she took your money under false pretenses.
Okay, so it started that she was at the bar. She talked to my husband, asked him if we have any children. She stated that she works at Disneyland, that she could get us discount tickets as well as...
Is that where you work?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead.
So she stated she worked there, that she could also get us tickets at a discounted rate as well as a hotel. We did mention to her that it was my daughter's birthday coming up in January, so we wanted to take her.
Slower.
Sorry. So we wanted to take her, so we thought about it for a little bit.
When was this?
This was in November of 2019. So we talked about it, we discussed it. She, gained our trust. Again, we have mutual friends. It's not someone we just...
Don't go, just give me the facts, ma'am.
So the facts, she told us it was the $300. Up front, we had to pay her $300 for her to reserve the hotel room. So that's when we went ahead and gave her $300 cash. So following the $300, it was a remaining balance of $200 the day of. And that was in December, the beginning of December. Exact date for you. I'm sorry.
Just a minute. So
yes. No, so it was $300. The day of, we were supposed to give her the remaining $200, but that never happened. We were never taken to Disneyland. It was canceled. We did not go to Disneyland.
Well, who canceled it?
We did, because initially, the first date that she was giving us to go, she had an excuse where we didn't go. So for the first day she gave us, it was an excuse that the park was busy. She started talking about this coronavirus that's going on. So
you're missing me, and you're talking too fast. So you gave her the $300.
Correct.
And you made a date with her to go.
Correct.
She was going to be there because she works there.
Correct.
She canceled that date, or you canceled that date?
The initial date.
The first date?
Yes.
Who canceled it?
She did.
And what date was that?
So she gave us a reservation for it to be the 8th and the 9th of January for us to go to Disneyland.
All right, so she gave you the dates. These are the dates you can go.
Correct.
And you gave her $300.
We gave her $300, yes.
And you were about to go. On what date did she tell you that it was canceled?
So she took the initiative because my husband...
No, look at me and talk slower.
I'm sorry. So she had took the initiative to cancel it because my husband got sick.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So you canceled it?
No.
Well, if your husband got sick, then he couldn't go.
Yeah, but she took the initiative to cancel. She said I had already canceled. So she was rescheduling for us to go again.
You made answering truthfully.
No, ma'am.
He was sick.
Correct.
So you stop playing with your paper. He was sick so that you couldn't go on the 8th and 9th of January. Were you sick?
Yeah.
What was wrong with you?
I had the flu. But I want to go because I want to take my kids.
We were
and then
still
she
going.
canceled
Just a second. What? You had the flu and you were going to go?
So it's my daughter's
well,
birthday.
That's pretty selfish of you. And stupid.
It's my daughter's birthday. I want to take my daughter.
That was pretty selfish and stupid. If you have the flu, to go to Disneyland with a whole bunch of other people, to give a whole bunch of other people the flu. You canceled the 8th and 9th. Did you reschedule?
We had rescheduled, but she never gave us a date. She was going to check the availability.
And what happened?
That's when, after Disneyland, she tells us that she was coming into a settlement for 20...
Did you cancel the 8th on the 8th or the 7th?
No, ma'am.
When did you cancel it?
We didn't cancel. She canceled.
No, you canceled. You may say she canceled. Your husband had the flu. He couldn't go to Disneyland. On what date did you let her know that you had the flu? Sir, on
she
what
came to the house that day when I was sick.
What day?
I don't remember exactly the date, but that was like 2 days before we were supposed to go to Disneyland. And then we were supposed to reschedule the date to go again. And that's when she came with that she got a settlement for $25 million. And that's when she told me I needed more money.
Tell me about the next alleged scam.
Yes. So following that, we became a friendship with her. We've gone out to eat multiple times. She had mentioned that she needed that she was going to get kicked out of her apartment, that she did not have funds due to her getting a settlement, that she was wrongfully diagnosed by a doctor, causing her to get multiple treatments, and they were rewarding her with $25 million. She said due to the IRS auditing her, her assets were frozen, so she had no money. Us as parents, we did feel bad for her because we even met her son, and she did not have $1,500 to pay for her rent.
Well, she's working at Disney.
Apparently, she had said that all her assets were frozen, so she wouldn't have access to her money. So since she was getting direct deposit, she did not have access to get any money from the bank. So that's when she inquired that if we know anybody who could lend her $1,500 and she would reimburse them double that, doubling the $1,500. We went to bed. Again, I felt bad. I am a mother of 3. And we spoke and said, let's lend her the money.
On what date did you do that?
We lent her the money in November as well, the end of November. She was paying her rent for December of $1,500.
Let's leave the hotel room aside for the moment.
Okay.
Did the plaintiffs give you $1,500?
They did.
For what?
To help me with my rent. It was never a conversation with Jasmine. It was always conversations with Jose. And he said that he's been in tough situations, that he had spoke to his wife, that he would help me out.
Good. Did you pay him back at Disney?
I do.
Your bank's still frozen?
No. But with
Why?
the Disney, can I say my side of the story? I suggested when he became sick with the flu not to go to Disneyland because he would not enjoy himself, because he would be grouchy. And so I offered him another date to go, which was in a text message, January 29th through the 31st. So I offered them another date to go, and they accepted that date. And then they turned around and canceled thereafter that she wasn't getting her unemployment check, her disability check, and she was not going to be able to go. These were non-refundable tickets.
Can I see that text, please? Notice how I sort of glossed over this $300 for Disney. Because if you cancel a day before, usually, if you put down a deposit, they take your full deposit.
Right, but he was sick, and
Would you show this to them? So she offered you an alternative date?
Yes. And due to me not getting my check from EDD, I never agreed. If you see, there's never a text me saying, yes, we'll take that date.
I don't care. You canceled the first time. She managed to get you a second time. Let's go. Let's move on. So far, she owes you $1,500 for her rent. What's next?
After that, when she had said that she came into a settlement, she had mentioned to us that she had an abusive Tesla. And during the time that she had told us that she had a settlement of $25 million, she wanted to buy a bar. She wanted to buy a bar, and she wanted to go in business with us. And moving forward, prior to the bar, she had told us that she had came into the $25 million settlement.
You already said that 5 times.
I'm sorry. It's just a whole lot that happened. There's so much in between.
So far, she owes you $1,500.
$1,500, correct. After Disneyland, when she had told us about the $25 million, we had asked her to, my husband had asked her to let us borrow $20,000 for a home. We were in the middle of trying to purchase a home. She said, no, why don't I just buy it for you guys? Buy it, and you guys pay me, since she's getting that settlement.
So now your husband is asking her for $20,000.
Yes, this is when we still thought Disneyland was real. Yeah.
So now your husband is asking her, who he's just lent $1,500 to, for $20,000 from her settlement, because now you see, for a house.
For a home, correct.
And she said...
She said, that's when she had stated, that she'll purchase it and we would pay her back. That she could purchase it cash and we would pay her back. We got in contact with our realtor, and that's when we went house shopping. We went looking at homes for us. We went looking at homes for her. We were everywhere you could think of looking for homes. We actually opened escrow on a home. I have the purchase agreement here, as well as a cancellation.
Keep going.
We went into escrow with the home, W-2, all the proof that you need to show that where the money's coming from. She had excuses left and right that her attorney...
Did you give her any money for this home?
No, ma'am.
So what do I have to know about it for?
Following that, so it's because it's one of the incidents with her, that's where we were back and forth with her with the whole home. I have proof of that as far as...
Just a second. You didn't give her any money?
No, I didn't give her any money for that.
So let's move on.
Okay, so then that's where it comes to the car. Where you see the $500 garage fee, she has stated that she had bought her ex-boyfriend a Tesla. She asked us, since we were going to be business partners, if we wanted the vehicle for $500.
A new Tesla?
A new Tesla, that she had already gave a down payment, and that all we had to pay was a $500 garage fee. Yes. I know. Oh, she sent us photos. She sent us invoices. She sent us everything that made it seem real. We went to the Tesla dealer. We test drive the car. I mean, we went with our whole family. We're a family of 5 with the 3 little ones.
What kind of ridiculousness. Do you think that you can buy a $100,000 car for $500?
So she sent us an invoice that said the vehicle was going to be $64,000, that she had already gave a down payment, but since her ex-boyfriend was abusive and cheated on her with her cousin,
I don't care.
she didn't want to give it to him. So that's why she wasn't giving it to him. Now she was willing to give, since her assets were frozen.
Just a second. $500 garage fee, and who was supposed to pay out the $64,000?
She had already given a down payment on the car.
How much?
She had said she had given $3,500.
Who was supposed to pay the rest?
She was.
So far, she owes you $1,500.
I have.
That's all. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I can't even take you seriously.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We were fools for believing her.
Well, then, no, you were more than fools.
But we...
No, you were more than fools.
She came around our kids.
You were more than fools. You thought you were getting something for nothing.
And later today...
If the bills were in storage that you say she took and destroyed or she got rid of, then all you have to do is call up the company and say, I lost all my bills. Can you send me a copy? Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Jasmine and Jose Acosta claim former friend Ramona Segura defrauded them on several accounts.
Now, so far, show me proof that you gave her $1,500.
There you go.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I show you what I have for the Tesla? She did send us information for it.
Know that either you're getting conned or somebody is stealing something when you're going to get a $60,000 car for $500. It's like going up to somebody and say, you want to buy my Rolex? I need money right now. I have to go buy a bowl of soup and a bagel. So I'm going to sell you my Rolex, which is a $25,000 watch, for $50. And then you say, oh, yeah. That Rolex, probably stolen. But if I could buy it for $50, why not? You think that the courts are going to help you?
I understand that we were fools for believing her.
Well, then, no, you were more than fools.
But we...
No, you were more than fools.
She came around our kids.
You were more than fools. You thought you were getting something for nothing. See, the rent is a whole different thing. She said she needed rent. Bank accounts were frozen, whatever it is. She may have felt that she had a couple of suckers. But you knew that you were giving her money, and that money was going... in your head was going to her rent. You said, I'm a mother of 3. I realized that. She has a son. But with regard to the car, you thought you were getting something for nothing because somebody was going to get scammed. You weren't signing your name as owners of the car, responsible for the loan.
She said that she was putting it under our name.
Let's say I believe you that she said, I put down $3,500. Well, that's pay the $61,000.
She said she was.
Yeah. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused and they step out.
The accusations were false against me.
She's a liar. She knows what she's doing. She's a con artist.
I didn't owe him anything.
Now I can't trust people.
Jealous wife. She couldn't handle the fact that her husband and I became really good friends.
We're not friends. I'll tell you, we're not friends.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Patterson versus Williams. Step forward.
Donna Patterson is suing her former tenant, Glenda Williams, for rent, a car, the cost of a storage unit, and emotional distress.
All right, so let me understand this, Miss Patterson. You owned a house.
Yes.
Was there one house on the property or two?
There was a mobile home and then a tiny house.
And were you living in the house?
No, I didn't live there.
You didn't live there. You rented to people.
Yes.
At some point, the property went into foreclosure.
Yes.
Had you owned the property for a long time?
A year.
Did you inherit the property or did you buy it?
I acquired it.
From whom?
A former friend and neighbor who no longer had any funds, so she said if I take it over.
How much did you pay for it?
I didn't. She quitclaimed it to me.
Just a second. So you didn't pay for this property that had a house and a trailer on it?
Correct.
However, that...
Correct.
So your friend gave you the property for nothing. You didn't pay the taxes on it, and you rented, let me get this clear, because now it's becoming clear to me, you rented the house and or the trailer, one of them, to the defendant.
She actually rented a room in the house.
How many people did you have renting in the house?
5.
So now let's understand this. So you got this property for nothing, you didn't pay the taxes on it, and you were renting to 5 people who lived in the house. They paid you rent.
Yes.
At some point, all the electricity was cut off in the house and the trailer. So the whole place was being run by generator, but you lived someplace else.
Correct.
Now, where you lived, did you have lights?
Yes.
Air conditioning?
No.
Heat?
No.
Do you live in a cabin?
No.
What kind of place do you live in?
I lived in a home, a regular house, but the air conditioning and heating had broke, so I didn't have it for 3 years.
All sounds like a whole lot of problems to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to come back here when you have all the paperwork? I'll be more than happy to let you go outside. Now you have the name of the company. Call them up. Fax it here. You can come back tomorrow. You want to do that? Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. Okay.
Judge Judy.
Donna Peterson says former tenant Glenda Williams is a squatter. Glenda's countersuing for the cost of a generator.
Okay. In any event, what you say is that she became a squatter and didn't pay you rent.
Correct.
In a house that had been foreclosed that you weren't paying on.
I didn't know it was foreclosed in the beginning.
Who cares? I don't care. You weren't paying a penny.
I was paying another company to keep it out of foreclosure so their rent could go towards getting it out of foreclosure.
Let me see what you were paying another company to keep it out of foreclosure.
I only have the name of the company.
I don't care.
Because it was in storage that she sold.
Name of the company doesn't help me. So far, we're in a totally unsympathetic position. It's not as if you rented to the defendant in a house that you were maintaining, that you paid for, and that you were paying the taxes on, and she was living there squatting on this property and didn't pay you rent from August until May, even though it was run on a generator.
But that's not correct. I'm sorry, it's not correct.
She
had all the other utilities.
You said to me, somebody gave you the house last year. Didn't you tell that to me? Or was it 2 years ago that they gave you the house?
I'm sorry, it was 2 years ago. If I said one, I'm sorry.
Well, you're an adult woman. You live in a house. Then you know on a house, on property, there are taxes. You didn't pay the taxes for 2 years.
No, I didn't. I didn't pay the taxes.
Then you were a squatter on that property, too.
No, Your Honor. I still paid all the other bills. I paid $750 every month to keep it out of foreclosure for 2 years.
Just a second. Show me.
My receipt was in storage, which is another part of the case.
Just a second. It's not another part of the case, madam. Let me tell you this. There is zero sympathy, because if you were paying $750 a month to keep the house out of foreclosure, A, you weren't successful, and B, if the bills were in storage that you say she took and destroyed or she got rid of, then all you have to do is call up the company and say, I lost all my bills. Can you send me a copy? Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. If you paid $750 a month to a company and you didn't have the bills, that company will give you the $750 receipts as copies. If it's only over 2 years, we're not talking about 10 years ago.
But I just barely found the paperwork that shows the name of the company.
Oh, fine. Then you want to come back here when you have all the paperwork? I'll be more than happy to let you go outside. Now you have the name of the car. You want to do that? Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. Okay. Now, you have equally as ridiculous a lawsuit. You know, you say that she used your generator to fire up the house and to keep the basic necessities going, and because it was used so often, your generator, that it blew. That's your counterclaim?
Yes.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
No, it's not.
We're done.
Your Honor, there's a whole lot more to this.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You moved in with your grandfather.
A young woman runs into trouble.
He punched you?
He did, and that's when the chokehold happened. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Next Judge Judy.
For 2 years, she didn't pay.
I'm glad it is all over with.
I paid for the generator to be fixed.
She illegally hooked up the electricity.
I paid $300 to fix it.
Did a trench underground. I'm just so glad it's over.
Never again.
I am glad this matter is over with, and I'd like to thank Judge Judy for having me on her show.
Why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She didn't send you, so you moved in with your grandfather.
Or does it run in the family?
He punched you?
And that's when the chokehold happened.
I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed him.
He's on parole for first-degree murder.
This is Judge Judy.
23-year-old Cassandra Courier is suing her grandfather, Michael Walker, for an illegal eviction, a false restraining order, and physical abuse.
Order. All rise. It's case number 432 on the calendar in the matter of Courier versus Walker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Courier, how old are you?
23.
What do you do for a living?
I'm unemployed at the moment.
Prior to moving in with your grandfather, who were you living with?
My mother.
For how long?
2 months.
Prior to that, where were you living?
My grandfather.
Prior to living with your mother, you were living with your grandfather?
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather?
Correct.
In what month did you move into your mother's?
May 17th, 2019.
And why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She sent you to jail for... She didn't send you. The police took you to jail.
False accusations of domestic violence.
She made an allegation against you of domestic violence.
Correct.
Now, your grandfather.
Correct.
Where were you living with your grandfather?
Tustin, California.
And why did you leave to go to your mother's house?
There was issues within the household between all of us, or betwixt all of us.
Well, not all of you. There was you and your grandfather. Who else?
And my mother. She moved in. She lost her house.
But then she moved out and you moved with her.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
After your mother had you arrested, and you stayed with him until when?
From July 7th to July 19th.
Of 2019.
Correct.
You're suing him for an illegal eviction. Is that the eviction that you're talking about in July of 2019?
No, ma'am.
What eviction?
The eviction that took place on December 20th.
So you moved in with your grandfather just for a short period of time, 7/7 to 7/19, and then you left.
In between.
And where did you go?
In between that time, we moved on July 24th to a house in 29 Palms.
Who was working?
No one.
Who was paying the rent?
My grandfather.
Okay.
We bought a house with a VA loan.
And you moved in together then on 7/24, so you moved in with your grandfather. Were you paying any of the expenses?
Yes.
What expenses?
Cell phone, car
that's
payment.
your cell phone.
My cell phone, correct, but on his
good for
account.
you. What else?
Not true here.
What house expenses in his house? Look at me. So you were a guest in your grandfather's house.
Incorrect.
Like if I invited one of my grandchildren to come and move in.
The only...
Just a second. One of my grandkids said to me, "Can I come and stay with you, Nana?" And I said, "Sure." And then they got sassy or nasty or did something I didn't like, and I said, "Pack up and go." You think that that's an illegal eviction?
No, he can only have me living with him. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Just a second. I didn't ask you that. I know that you wanted to get that in there. But what I'm asking you is, you lived there, you weren't working, and you were paying no expenses. So you were living as a guest in your grandfather's house.
Correct.
Well, then he can't illegally evict you.
The only reason he can live in this house is because of me. It's on his parole.
Who cares?
I care.
What? Well, I don't care. The law doesn't care. You may care, but the law doesn't care. You're a guest in his house. He's paying the expenses on the house. You're living with him, and if something happens, and he said to you, "I don't want you to live here anymore. Goodbye, pack up and leave," that's what you have to do. You're a guest, and if a parole board wants to come after him for that, that's their prerogative. That has nothing to do with you. Where did you move to in December when you had this kerfuffle with your grandfather?
My car. May 17th.
When you were living with your mother?
Yes and no. That was the last day that I left from my job. It was Robert Half International. I was working there for March to May.
For 3 months?
Correct. Before that, I was a general manager for 2 years, House of Pokey.
Well, why don't you have a job now?
It's been difficult as far as living in my car for the longest time. I did have a job. I signed paperwork, submitted it. I was under the impression that I was going to be getting paid $3,000 a month for a shipping and receiving clerk. And when it came to February 14th, I was supposed to receive my first check. Didn't hear back from anybody.
Just a minute, a shipping and receiving of what?
Clerk.
Did you work for somebody?
I did.
And you worked for them and you didn't get paid?
No.
In February?
No, ma'am.
Do you know why?
No one's responded.
Who is this?
This is Christopher.
No, you don't have to get up.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is he?
A friend. He's allowing me to stay at his house.
Where?
Pomona.
Okay, so you're not living in your car anymore?
Not since December 27th.
Oh, well, that's great. Nice of you.
Ma'am.
So you're staying with him?
Correct.
And looking for work?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. The last part, legal eviction. He filed a restraining order to keep you out of the house because you evidently didn't want to leave. You have a punitive damage for physical abuse. You want to tell me about that?
Yes, so it started on November 17th of 2019.
November 17th,
yes.
2019.
Yeah, at around 9 a.m.
And what happened?
There was an altercation that had occurred betwixt my grandfather and I, resulting in him putting me in a chokehold and putting his hands on me, physically abusing me.
No, that's two different things. Putting you in a chokehold, and you made a punching motion. Now, is that what he did? He punched you?
He did.
Do you have any photographs of injuries?
I do not.
Okay. And what was the argument about?
Over me touching the electrical box to the house.
What do you mean touching the electrical box? Explain it.
The house that we had bought was...
No, you didn't buy it together. He bought it. You had no money. You had no job. You got a VA loan. And the fact that he may need someone to live with him right now, he's here and nobody's taking him into custody because you're not living with him, okay? So I want you to get that windshield wiper that out of your head. What do you mean touching the electrical box?
I was trying to figure out why our well pump wasn't working or why our refrigerator wasn't receiving well as filtered water to the sink, and I have a video of that.
And?
It resulted in me taking a loose wire from the floor. When I picked it up, it sparked, so the next move I made was went to the electrical box to turn off the power, thus not getting a spark anymore. He was upset at the fact that I'm not an electrician, so I should mind my own business in that department.
Okay, so he said to you, don't do that. Don't touch anything that you don't know anything about. You're not an electrician. And what did you say to him?
I didn't say anything, and that was an issue to him, that I wasn't responding.
Go ahead.
So I went to, when I turned around, he blocked my path, so I couldn't exit out the front door.
And?
I went underneath his arm to escape, and that's when the chokehold happened.
You want to tell me your version of that event on the 17th, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I was on the ground underneath the tractor, working on the tractor. I heard an electrical explosion, and I heard her say, "Oh!" I came out from under the tractor. I thought she'd been electrocuted. And she was standing near the well pump, and there was evidence of a large spark. She had tried to attach a 240-volt wire to ground. I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm trying to find out why we're not getting any water." We were getting water, Your Honor. She just turns off the pump. I said, "Leave it alone. It's none of your business. It has nothing to do with you. Leave the pump alone."
Incorrect. I didn't ask him.
Don't speak. He didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
So she went to the electrical box and she turned a breaker off that said pump on it. It's the wrong pump, not the pump that she was messing with. And then she started heading back out to the pump. And I did stand in her way, and I was not going to let her go back out to the pump. And she charged me. And she went under me and knocked me backwards out the door. If I had not grabbed onto her, I would have landed on my back on the rock walkway. And I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed her.
Did you punch her?
No, I did not.
I don't believe that either. When's the next incident of assault?
Okay, I also have November 15th.
And what happened on November 15th?
There was an animal abuse, and what I'm referring to is a dog that that was under our care for Rover.com. It's a dog sitting business. He overdosed her for 3 counts. Instead of giving her 3 cc's of insulin, he gave her 30. And unfortunately, she had multiple seizures and died.
What does that have to do with you?
Well, that's a part of abuse.
Next.
November 8th, I ended up calling the police on my grandfather. November 12th.
Go ahead.
So my grandfather had, the first event was he called the police department and filed a false accusation that I had stolen a cell phone worth $1,000 of his. So when I arrived back from the Sprint store that day, he held out his phone to me, and there was an officer that stated he was going to be arresting me on a felony charge for this cell phone. The reason how this cell phone came into play was the altercation betwixt my grandfather and I of him laying his hands on me. Later that night, I threatened to call his parole officer because of this abuse.
Well, just a second. You gave me 2 instances that happened November 15th that happened with a dog. That had nothing to do with you. Then you told me about November 17th, when you got into a family dispute because you were touching his property and he grabbed hold of you. Did not punch you. You don't have any evidence of that. So you're still living in the same house.
Correct.
Right? So now we're talking about almost a month later.
Yes, that next incident was the cell phone.
And you were living in his house for that month.
Correct.
Next.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old, help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start.
And later today.
Tell me what happened.
It was after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12.
Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was just late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Cassandra Correa says her grandfather, Michael Walker, evicted her by way of a false restraining order. She also claims her grandfather physically abused her.
Okay. Ms. Courier, I'm going to suggest that you're a young woman, you're 23 years old, you're unemployed. I'm going to suggest to you that you have somebody who appears to be a nice person. He's letting you live in his house while you look for a job, okay? Finding a particular job isn't always easy, but finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start. Do you work?
Not currently right now, ma'am. I'm going to school.
And who takes care of you?
I'm at my parents' house currently.
So she's living with you in your parents' house?
That's correct, ma'am.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much. I've had enough of this case. Thank you.
I feel threatened for my life.
I didn't owe my granddaughter anything. I was trying to help her.
The physical abuse of living with somebody who did 30 years.
She ran up $14,000 on my credit cards. I had to take my credit cards away from her.
I want to live my life.
I still love her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Rogers versus Robinson. Step forward.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Mr. Rogers, the defendant and you had a relationship for a period of time. That didn't work out. While you were involved in this relationship, you had some property at her house, clothes and other things. Did you live together?
No, I spent a lot of nights at her house.
So
days.
you had things there?
Yeah.
And it is your allegation that when you went to retrieve some of that property, there was an altercation which resulted in you having a broken foot.
Yes.
And that Miss Robinson is responsible for that.
Yes.
So I see your foot is in a boot.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when this happened.
This happened, it was like 1st of November.
So what happened on November 1st?
Well, I called her. I wanted to pick up house shoes, clothing, toothbrush.
What time did you call her?
It was approximately around 8:30 p.m.
Did you speak to her?
Yes. I spoke with her on the telephone, telling her I was on my way.
You told her you were on your way, you didn't ask. So far, is that correct that he called? And
No,
said,
that's
"I'm on
not
my
exactly
way"?
what happened, no.
Well, tell me what happened.
Okay. Mr. Rogers have a very bad habit of...
Don't tell me what has
It was
happened.
after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12, actually.
Hold on a second. Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was just late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Oh, okay, because he typically comes by really late at night.
What I'm telling you was,
okay,
that's what you said in your
okay.
answer.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection that it wasn't midnight?
It seemed like it was a lot later, but that's what I said.
Okay, and go ahead.
Okay, and so at that time I didn't want to open the door, not without somebody being an attendant or something like that. So I offered to call my sister to be there, but he didn't want that. So I never opened the door for Mr. Rogers. I let him ramp and rave outside. So at this point in time, I did not want to let Mr. Rogers in, which he intentionally gets mad and takes the mailbox off the house and threw it, and then threw some garbage cans and some other stuff. So when I heard him do the sing that I call it outside, I didn't open the door or entertain it. I didn't know until the next day. Supposedly hurt his leg.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you have a broken foot.
At first, when it broke, I'm thinking it's like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the second, and they told me that my
Don't
insurance
tell me what they told you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Now, why didn't you just give him his things?
Because prior to this, Mr. Rogers, once before, and this time, maybe that's why I got this mixed up, Your Honor, is because then it was 11 to 12 o'clock at night. The officers could tell you, because he called the officers on himself to come get a saw, and it was about 12 o'clock at that time at night, and I explained to them I wasn't going to open my door, and after speaking with Mr. Rogers, they saw why I would not open my door, and then I proceeded to get him his saw at that point in time, but he likes to wait till these...
With the police officer?
Yes.
But you had other things that were in the house. Clothes, shoes.
Right, and at that time, I could not locate it, everything that they were looking for, because I would wash these things and hand them to them for me while I get those things. The second time, I just didn't open the door at all.
So the second time, which is on November 1st, when he came to the house, you didn't open the door at all?
No, Your Honor. I opened the chasing door. It's like a storm.
Who did you go there with?
A friend of mine drove me around there.
A friend drove you there?
Yeah.
Where is he?
He couldn't make it because of work.
What do you do for working, Mr. Rogers?
Well, I'm a direct salesman. I walk through the city selling socks, T-shirts, boxers. I have a large clientele of people. Everybody know me in the metro area.
What metro area?
Milwaukee. And I distribute to everybody.
You sell things on the street?
Yes. Directly.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see your medical records, sir.
This is what I have because...
no, I'd like to see your medical records. That's what this case is about.
Here you are.
Sir, I don't see that you went to the doctor's office or a hospital either November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd, November 4th, November 5th, November 6th, November 7th, November 8th, November 9th, November 10th, November 11th, November 15th, November 16th.
There's an explanation for that, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
When I went on the second, my United Care health insurance had elapsed. So I just come out of Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which was...
Sir, I can't help you without medical records. I can't help you with that. I have to see a doctor who saw you either that day or the next day or the next day. If you have a broken foot, you have a doctor who sees you, who was reported, it's not helping you.
Judge Judy. Okay, at first when it broke, I'm thinking it's like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the second, and when I went the second, they told me that my insurance wasn't going to go through. Don't tell me what they told you. Right, and so I went later.
What date later?
I went on the 19th.
Goodbye, Mr. Rogers. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please excuse you to step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
She totally caught me off guard, just started punching me. She had pushed me down.
How did I punch her?
Next, Judge Judy.
My foot is broke. It didn't get broken any other time after the fact.
I always knew that she was going to see through it.
I went backwards after handing me my stuff, and all my weight landed on my foot.
I did hear something outside, but that's what he does. He's an actor.
She's just got a feisty way when she's upset.
Don't come knocking.
Caught up in her friend's marriage issues.
Raul's saying Carrie's on drugs and Carrie's saying Raul's on drugs. They're going back and forth with each other. And I go, here, I have a drug test.
Did her suggestion hit a nerve?
She totally caught me off guard, started wailing on me, just started punching me.
She had pushed me down. She had grabbed my hair.
How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes? You did, in fact, punch her.
This is Judge Judy. Kimberly Richter is suing her former friend, Carrie Reyes, for breaking her nose during an argument at Kimberly's home.
Judge, this is case number 7 on the calendar in the matter of Richter versus Reyes. Parties have been sworn in.
Miss Richter, I understand that you and your husband and the defendant and her husband had been friends.
Correct.
And had you known each other?
I've known Miss Reyes for about 15 years.
On November 25th, you and your husband, the defendant and her husband, were spending an evening together at whose home?
My house.
Who else was present?
It was Carrie, myself, my 2 daughters, my husband, Mark, and later that evening, Raul, her boyfriend, husband, showed up.
Had you had dinner?
No, we were just hanging out by the pool. We were having a few glasses of wine, having a good night.
Had all of you been drinking?
Yes, the adults.
Except, of course, the children.
Of course.
Don't I see you? Put your hand down. It is your claim that on that evening, an altercation ensued with you and Miss Reyes. And as a result of that, your nose was broken.
Yes.
You want her to be responsible for not only the medical bills, but for the pain and suffering that you had as a result of her assaulting you. Miss Reyes, in her answer, while she acknowledges, I believe, Miss Reyes, that you did, in fact, punch her, you indicated that it was a result of her aggression and you were acting in self-defense.
Correct, Your
Honor.
Honor.
Have that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Miss Reyes, you put your hand up before when Miss Richter was telling me that the group of you had been drinking. I'm not talking about getting sloppy drunk. I'm talking about that you had been having wine and hanging out at the pool for several hours before you. How long had you been there before your husband arrived?
I would say about an hour, hour and a half.
At what time did you arrive?
Late afternoon, I would say, around 4 or 5 p.m. And my husband arrived around, I would say, 6:37.
Okay. And prior to your husband arriving, there were no incidents. Is that right?
No, Your Honor, everything was fine.
Miss Richter, approximately what time in the evening did this assault take place?
7:30, 7:45. It was just before the sunset.
All right, now in your own words, I'd like you to tell me what happened.
Carrie and I, we were having a few drinks, and we were discussing throughout the day how she believes her husband, boyfriend, is cheating on her, and she thinks he's doing drugs. And I'm like, well, Carrie, you know, where's your proof? She didn't have any proof, but she was always coming to my house. I think Raul's cheating on me. I think he's doing drugs. I found this in the bathroom. There's needles missing. There was a needle there the other day. She would come over with these weird accusations.
What do you mean that there were needles? Stop.
Sure.
What do you mean when you said there were needles missing?
She told me that he was using steroids or something to boost his, whatever you use steroids for.
Muscles or whatever.
So I think that was why.
Your manliness, I guess. I don't know.
It's been a while.
Okay. So you were having discussions with her.
Him arriving, yes.
And he arrived at about 6 o'clock. And this incident happened, according to you, about 7:45. So he was there for a little bit before it happened.
Correct.
All right. Keep going.
So we moved to the garage because Raul showed up and my husband was in the garage. Well, Raul showed up and my husband offered him a beer. So him and Raul were in the garage having a few beers while me and Carrie were out back. Well, we kind of wandered around to the garage area. And for whatever reason, my husband got up. I guess he was going in the house to watch TV or something. Well, it was me, Carrie, and Raul that were left in the garage. Raul had a beer. Carrie and I, you know, we were out there having a cigarette, talking with Raul, and the discussion of Raul being on drugs came up. So we started talking about it. I'm like, well, you know, I have a solution for this problem.
Who broached that subject?
I think it might have been me. It was so long ago that Carrie and I were talking about this.
It wasn't even a year ago. It was 10 months ago. How many times have you had your nose broken?
Once in my life.
Okay, so I would remember that, even though it was 10 months ago.
Well,
remember what happened.
The exact context of why that got brought up, I don't clearly remember that, but I can tell you what followed.
Okay, tell me what followed.
We had the discussion about Raul doing drugs, and Raul clearly stated, I'm not on drugs. And then I said, you know what, guys? I got up, I walked in my house, I came back that I purchased because my husband has employees, and we just use it to kind of, you know, keep them straight and scare them a little bit. You know, we're going to give you a drug test if we think anything's going on in the job. So I had this 14-panel drug test, and I go, here, I have a drug test. And Raul's saying Carrie's on drugs, and Carrie's saying Raul's on drugs. They're going back and forth with each other. And I'm like, well, here's a solution. Carrie, here's a drug test. And I kind of, after this point, you know, after looking at Raul and looking at Carrie and all the things that she's done and said coming to my house prior to these events with her paranoia and all that, kind of had the inclination that she might be doing something. So I suggested she take the drug test. She did not tell me yes. She did not tell me no. I was asking Carrie to take the drug test because I was kind of under the assumption that Raul wasn't really on drugs. And he was offering to take it. I'll take the drug test. I'll take it. And I'm like, no, Raul, I want Carrie to.
So he said, I'll take the drug test.
Yes.
Great. Got it.
So I said, no, Raul, I would like Carrie to take the drug test. I never got a yes out of Carrie. I never got a no out of Carrie. And so this went on for a few minutes, and I kind of got tired of it because it wasn't going anywhere. And I didn't want Raul to take the test because it would have been a waste. I didn't think he was on drugs. So I walked in my home, and Carrie comes in following me. And all I remember, she got me from behind. She totally caught me off guard and started wailing on me, just started punching me, didn't say anything. I'm screaming at her to get out of my house, into my home, and start hitting me. And at some point, she picked up my candle holder, which was on my coffee table in the front living room, and broke it over my head. And I'm still screaming at her to get out of my house. My kids are like at the staircase. They see the whole thing, or my oldest did. I'm bleeding. And I'm telling my youngest, because she's coming down the stairs, go get me a tissue, go get me a napkin, something so I can stop, you know, this.
You were bleeding from your nose or from your head?
Bleeding from my nose.
Okay. And at that point, had you been hit in your nose?
Yes.
Did she finally leave?
My oldest daughter came up and grabbed her hand and told her, Carrie, you need to leave, because I kept screaming at her that she needs to leave, get out of my house.
Did she?
When my daughter grabbed her hand and told her to leave, yes, she did, finally.
Did you call the police that night?
I did call the police later that evening.
Did you go to the hospital that night?
I did not go to the hospital that night because I was concerned about me not having health insurance.
No, tell me why. When did you go to either the doctor or the hospital?
The following morning.
Okay. So now I'd like to see the police report.
Sure. Not hard to read. It's a carbon copy.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay. And do you have the medical report indicating that you went to the... Was it an emergency room that you went to?
Yes, I went to the ER.
Okay. May I see that report?
Here's the first page.
I'd like to see the one with the diagnosis.
Sure. Right here?
Okay. Got it. Thank you very much. Okay. Ms. Reyes.
Yes, Your
Your
Honor.
version. We're about 7:45 at night on November 25th. Your husband had arrived at about 6, according to you. You had had a lovely afternoon chatting with your friend. Husband arrives. He's in the garage with the plaintiff's husband. You gals sort of find your way to the garage. Pick it up from there.
From that point, her husband had gone inside, laid down on the couch. The three of us were out in the garage, and the conversation came up, like she said, about drugs. It then evolved into, well, why are you guys fighting? It seems so ridiculous. Why don't you guys just have sex, is what she said. And I said, because I don't want to have sex with him. And she, in turn, turned around and said, well, if you're not going to, I'll have sex with him. So I got upset. She saw that I was upset and she started laughing. She said, I'm just kidding. Kim has a history of alcoholism. She's...
Don't tell me history. Don't tell me history. Just tell me what happened.
Okay.
So that's what she said to you.
Correct.
And she laughed. You
Correct,
didn't think
Your
it was fun. Come on.
School and her were still out in the garage. I went up to her husband, lying on the couch, and I explained to him what had happened.
No. Just tell me what you said to him.
I told him, I said, Kim...
You said, did you tell him what you just told me?
Correct, Your Honor.
And then?
And then from that point, he stood up and he said, I'm going to go see what's going on. I said, let it be, let them come in.
No.
So they came inside and Mark turned to Raul and said, Raul, is that true what Carrie just told me? Raul said, yes. Yes, Mark, that's true. That's when Kim got upset. She said, get out of my house. I ride horses. I was wearing only my socks. My horse boots, my cowboy boots were outside in her backyard. So I said, okay, I'll leave. So I went to proceed to go outside, and she pushed me. And when she pushed me, I slipped on the tile that she has in her house. And when I went to stand up, she pulled me by my hair.
You were inside or outside when I pushed you? Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When she pushed you down, did you end up on your face or on your back?
On my knees. She was in front of me and she pushed me forward.
And then you fell on your knees? That doesn't make sense to me, Miss Reyes.
Kimberly Richter says former friend Carrie Reyes attacked her and broke her nose after she asked Carrie to take a drug test.
All right, keep going.
I have pictures, which I also sent to the detective that was assigned to the case or the report that she had made.
Okay, the police came to your house.
The police never came to my house.
Or did you go to...
No.
Well, you spoke to a detective. Was that on the phone?
Yes, so I received a letter in the mail saying that there was a report of an alleged incident that occurred on November 25th for me to contact.
Okay, and when did you receive that letter?
I would say about 2 weeks after the incident.
Between November 25th, when this incident happened, and the time you received the letter, had you seen a doctor?
No, I had
Had you seen a
not.
doctor?
No,
Had
Your
you
Honor.
been to an emergency room?
No, Your Honor.
And had you made a police report?
No, Your Honor.
So now she pushed you and you
pushed-
fell.
Correct. And then she grabbed me by my hair. I have photocopies of my hair being ripped out.
And when did you take that photograph?
The same day. And that was sent to the detective. And I also brought copies if you'd like to see them as well.
Oh, I absolutely would. Is that the only photograph that you have?
It is, Your Honor.
Now, she pushed you down. When she pushed you down, did you end up on your face or on your back?
I was on my knees, so when I fell, I was able to I fell to my knees. And
She
then,
pushed you when you fell to your knees, and she
Correct,
was
Your Honor.
behind you.
She was in front of me, and she pushed me forward.
I thought you were leaving.
I was leaving.
I thought you were on your way out, and she pushed you.
Correct.
And you mean she ran around you and pushed you the other way?
No, I was headed towards her back.
And then you fell on your knees? That doesn't make sense to me, Miss Reyes.
I was inside the home, walking to her back door. And as I was walking by, she pushed me. She was in front of me and pushed me down. So I fell to my knees.
And she was in front of you. Well,
Correct.
she's in front of you and pushed you down. You fall backwards, not to your knees.
Well, I was not all the way down. I wasn't flat. I would say, like, on my butt or on
How
my...
did her nose get broken? How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes?
So when she had pushed me down, she had grabbed my hair. And in the process of when she grabbed my hair, I could not get her off of me. And so I started flailing my arms to have her let go. And I was defending, hit me previously in front of her daughter.
What prompted you? I'm curious. Now, you've all had several glasses of wine. Your husband has had a beer or two. Her husband, he was having a beer or two.
Correct.
He went inside to lie down. What prompted you, other than being a little bit happy, to go inside and tell him that his wife's suggestion to healing your domestic situation was to have sex?
Your
And
Honor.
You said, no, I don't want to. So she said, if you don't want to, I will. And then you went inside to tell her husband what she had said,
Correct,
leaving her outside with your husband. I'm just curious as to what prompted you to do that. What did you think he should do?
I wanted him to know the type of person that she is.
Okay, it's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were complaining about him
Correct.
using drugs. Otherwise, you mean just out of nowhere? She says, how about taking a drug test? I mean, I've had gatherings at my house. We don't do that with regularity.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Richter has accused former friend Carrie Reyes during an argument.
Now, what was the medical bill that you were charged by the emergency room?
So the total of the medical bills is $3,778.
Okay, Tabitha, would you stand up, please? Move closer to your mom. How old are you, Tabitha?
I am 14.
Were you there when the incident began?
When Carrie pushed my mom and then it all started, yes.
Tell me what you saw.
Right before I saw it, I heard arguing, and as soon as I came downstairs, I stood by the gate, and then I see Carrie and my mom. My mom's walking backwards, and Carrie's walking forwards. And then Carrie pushed my mom, and my mom almost fell, and then they started fighting. And my mom said to get out, and they were both flinging arms at each other, telling them to get out, because I believe they were pulling each other's hair. Carrie was pulling my mom's hair, actually, because I remember my mom's hair being a mess after. And then Carrie pushed my mom. My mom slipped,
And then as Carrie is on top of my mom, she grabs the glass case around the candle and hits my mom against the head. That's when I pull Carrie and tell her to get out.
So what you are describing to me is a fight between your mom and Carrie.
Yeah.
And then you saw Carrie pick up an... See where she hit your mother?
Right over the head. It all went by so fast, so I'm really trying to remember all of it by detail. But I do remember her grabbing it with her left hand and hitting my mom against the head. And then as soon as all the pieces fell on the floor, it shattered everywhere.
Tabitha, you've been helpful to me. When you say you couldn't hear what they were saying, do you remember how long they had been in the house before the fighting started?
Barely a few minutes, like less than 10 minutes.
And did you see where your father was?
Stepfather, and no.
But your stepfather you didn't see in the room?
Not till the very end after I pulled Carrie and told her to go away.
And then you saw him. Where was he?
I think he came out of the garage because it was that
Tabitha,
way.
you can sit down. You can sit down. Thank you very much. Is this your husband?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you step up, please? What's your last name?
Labiega.
Mr. Labiega, are you and the defendant married or just a couple?
We're married.
When were you married?
We're married on April.
Of what year?
This year.
I'm not asking. I'm not talking to you. Do you understand, Miss Reyes?
Sorry, Your
I'm not
Honor.
talking to you. Say nothing.
In a moment, closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, Mr. Labiega, do you remember November 25th of last year?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember agreeing to take a drug test?
Yes.
So when Miss Richter said to you, will you take a drug test?
I said no problem.
You said no problem.
Yes.
At the same time, did she ask your wife to take a drug test?
Yes.
And did your wife agree to take a drug test?
I don't think she said anything.
But Miss Richter asked her to take a drug test.
Yes, she did.
Okay, very good. Now you can sit down. Everybody got that figured out? That was an interesting story that you told me, Miss Reyes. Clearly your husband wasn't paying attention to all the testimony. Okay.
Your Honor, not only did that situation happen regarding the drug conversation, we had been out in the garage, Your Honor, for at least 30, 45 minutes.
How come you didn't tell me? Yes, that happened.
Your Honor, the reason I did not mention the whole drug conversation that occurred in the garage was because I felt it was irrelevant. The whole purpose and the whole reason...
It wasn't irrelevant. It's her whole case, madam. Listen to me carefully. She says that you were there and you were complaining about him using drugs. Otherwise, you mean just out of nowhere? She says, how about taking a drug test? I mean, I've had gatherings at my house. We don't do that with regularity.
The main issue was infidelity.
That's all I have to hear. $37.78, the rest for pain and suffering. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished. Thank you very much. Step out.
Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I want to see your marketing campaign.
So you want to see the logo?
That would be a start.
I did not bring a copy of the logo.
Ridiculous.
Next Judge Judy.
I think she was very fair in her ruling.
I was not charged or convicted or ever arrested for anything.
She has a problem putting her hands on me.
She is a major, major alcoholic and put her hands on me first.
And this is the last